All right, welcome to today's Accelerator Money course class. We've got Lewis Howe here. I had Lewis talking about his new book. It's one I want you to reach out and get. The School of Greatness is just coming out. You can pre-order it, or by the time you watch this, it'll be out. And Lewis is going to be talking to us here in the Accelerator, this private talk on, let's start talking about money. So, in your life, you know, you've done many things, entrepreneur now, author, but athlete. But when you begin to make the transition to go from, you know, sports and All-American, and you realize you need to make money.
Yeah.
What's the biggest pitfall that held you back? And then the biggest thing that turned it all around financially?
The biggest pitfall was probably having zero knowledge about how to make money.
Yeah.
I never learned about it. I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. My only focus was to play pro sports. And I put all my eggs in that basket. I didn't learn in college about how to make money. I didn't know you could be an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what that meant. So I think the fear of the unknown of like, what are people gonna pay me for?
Yeah.
Like, who is gonna give me money? For
Yeah.
what talent can I give, or what value can I give to people? I had no gifts or talents.
Yeah.
I didn't have a college degree yet. My football career was over, so I was like, what do I do? How do I make this happen? So that was the biggest setback was...
So it's just not and I think that's the most prevalent. People, you go to school, you go to junior high school, college, and most of us are not prepared for the fact that money, you have to go through kind of a school to learn how to make money.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest lesson you learned?
And they don't teach you how to make money in school.
No, it's almost it's almost like looked down upon.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's great that we learned that the California state bird is the whatever condor and the animal but it wouldn't make sense that you learn how to build a career. So as you begin to make some money, what were you doing at that leading up to that?
Well, the thing that changed it for me is that I was broke on my sister's couch for 2 years, and I had this feeling of, I was sick and tired of not feeling like a grown man. Like I couldn't take care of myself. That was the catalyst for me to start making money. I was just like, I'm sick and tired of being a loser, essentially. Like, why can't I just take care of myself and get an apartment and pay for my own food?
Yes.
That was the original thing. It was like, how do I get off my sister's couch?
Yeah.
How do I make $3,000 a month
Right.
to survive on my own and feel like a man?
And now you've gone from that to he
Right,
lives here in Beverly Hills, and you know.
Yeah. So that was the catalyst. And I remember I was working with a few mentors at the time, just trying to learn and soak up as much information as possible to see how I could do this. And we talked about this before, but mentors were a huge reason why I was able to start making money, because they guided me. They showed me ways that worked for them. I could see the process. I started working with some of them as their assistant or intern, and they started to pay me for certain things. I started to have ownership on things here and there and would run with it. I started to make commissions on sales. So I started to test a lot of different things with making money. I hosted events around the country that I used LinkedIn to promote. I wrote a book. I was doing workshops. I was doing one-on-one consulting eventually. I was trying everything to make money. I was doing partnerships. I was doing networking deals where I built this large audience, and people would reach out to me and say, hey, can you connect me with so-and-so? And I would leverage the deals and make a commission.
Okay.
So I was just like, how can I make money from anything?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do that will make me money? And I remember early on when I had this one mentor, Chris Hawker, who was a famous inventor. I was working with him for a few months, and I was like, man, I could really use some money. I was making about $500 a month that he was paying me. I was like, I could really use some money. I'm sick and tired of living on this couch. And he said something that really stuck with me that I say a lot. He said, money will come to you when you're ready for it. And I was like, I'm pretty ready to make some money right now. Like, I'm ready. I could have some money. You know, I was broke. I was like, I could have money. And he was like, it'll come to you when you're ready for it. And I didn't appreciate that until later when I started to really make the money. I realized if I would have made a lot of money, or if a lot of money would have fallen in my lap, or I won a lottery or something, I wouldn't have known how to handle it.
Yeah, the average person who wins the lottery in 2 years is broke.
Right.
The average pro athlete
is broke
in
bankrupt
2 years.
2 years after they go,
Yeah.
they make their millions and they're bankrupt. So I wouldn't have been able to understand it and manage it probably, and I wouldn't have been, who knows what I would have done.
Yeah.
So when I started to make more money, it was kind of like my the world was saying, okay, you're ready for this money. You're adding enough value. You've learned the lessons you need to learn. You've got things in order. So here's the money. The money's coming to you now. And I think people who do make a lot of money and lose it all, it's like they haven't been emotionally ready for it, or they haven't had the knowledge they need to keep it, and that's why they lose it. So it's like you might make a lot of money, but keeping
it's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Yeah, what you keep and what you're growing and how you're investing it.
Alan Nation, one of my mentors, used to say, Ty, be careful of becoming a millionaire before 30. Because not only is it easy to lose it, but also it can lock you in. So let's say you find something that makes a lot of money, but you don't really like it.
Yeah, you're stuck.
You're not gonna. I have a friend like that makes $2 million a month in a business he hates, but he's never gonna sell it because you're not gonna sell something. So you end up detaching, and it gets all complicated.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I like this on money in that it's easy to get ahead of yourself, and the way you did it is a way that I've talked a lot about, which is go learn on someone else's dime.
Yeah.
So you went and worked for this, what's his name, Chris?
Chris, yeah.
So you work for him, you're getting $500 there, and you're working and interning / apprenticing, whatever word you want to do that. If somebody's watching and they go, that makes sense, I don't exactly know what I want to do to make money, or maybe you do know, how did you get a foot in the door to get them to agree to pay you?
That comes back to hustle and persuasion. I think with Chris, this inventor, I came to him with a product idea that I'd already worked on and developed, and had a prototype for an invention.
Okay.
And I said, I want you to help me take this to market.
Okay.
And he was essentially like, I don't have time for you. You know, I've got so many different products we're working on. Like, you're this little kid, this like football player bum. And I showed up to his office every week for a couple of months.
Okay, so persistently.
I was very persistent, but I wasn't being like a jerk. I was so eager to learn.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's soak up everything he said. And I think people, we appreciate when people want to learn.
Yes.
And when they ask the right questions, and they're excited about it, and they're passionate about it, and then they go take action.
Yeah.
Probably the worst thing for me, and I'm assuming for you, maybe tell me if I'm wrong, is when someone asks you for your time and you give them suggestions or feedback or advice, and then they don't do anything with it. You're like, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
But you love it when they go out and they implement it and they come back and show you this result.
Yes.
It makes us feel great.
And it sometimes has to be, like Lewis is saying, you might have to do it for a couple months.
Yeah. And maybe it's not the right fit.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out, but if you only go once to finding a mentor or an internship or getting your foot in the door, it's almost like, it's not that people want to test you overtly, but subconsciously they're testing you.
If I could do it all over again, and if I wasn't able to find a mentor to support me, I would do this. This would be the game. This would be like, if someone approached me this way, I would take them seriously. I would go to a mentor, the biggest person that I felt the most inspired by, that I wanted to have my life emulated. I would go to them and say, for the next year, I'm going to be a workhorse for you. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make you more money and solve your biggest problems. And I'm going to give you 10 grand this year to do that. And I'm going to work for you for free, and I'm going to pay you 10 grand. And I will do anything you want me to do. But here's what I want from it. I want to be able to have access to the things that you know that you don't tell everyone. And I want you to give me a little bit of your time every now and then, or at least just allow me to be around so I can soak it up through osmosis, right? And learn and pick things up. And then when I show you, you can trust me, and you feel like that I'm ready for that, I would love for you to give me more responsibility. And for a year, I'm going to do anything you need. I'm going to be your person. And I'm going to pay you 10 grand. That would be the game to play.
Yeah.
If someone approached me like that, because I'm sure you get this all the time, hey, can I come work for you for free?
Right.
All the time I get emails, I want to move from New York to LA to work for you for free. It seems like more work for me.
Yes, exactly, because people don't realize when you're not good at something, you're not a great it's like
I got to train you, I got to teach you, and then in 6 months you're going to leave. It's like, I did all this work to give to you. What did I get from it?
Yeah.
You learned everything and then you left. But if someone said, I'm going to pay you 10 grand, 20 grand, I don't care what it is, 10 to 20 grand, that's a real number for someone. Maybe it's not that much for someone like you, but it's like, this person's serious.
Right, it shows intention.
It shows their intention, and they're going to be here for a year. There's a set start and end date for at least this evaluation. And you're going to give someone a call back or an email. We're going to reply back and be like, okay, I like your hustle.
Yeah.
I like your angle. Let's see what's next. That's what I would do.
That's good. So in
Better than a master's program, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And a master's, an MBA, those are ranging now 20 to 100 grand, depending where you go.
And you still don't have any experience afterwards.
Yeah.
You spent 2 years, and now you got to go get the mentor still.
Right.
To learn what you need to do.
For sure. I love that. So here's the action items for you as we close out this talk on, really, which is a talk on how to get mentors and how to get a foot in the door. One last thing before we get to the closing. In terms of just practicalities, do you prefer, or what do you think is the most effective? Calling, emailing, reaching out on Twitter, going through a friend of a friend, or just showing up at a conference you're doing in person? What do you think is the best? Because you can't always do, the best is obviously their mom, your mentor's mom saying, hey, help this person out or something like that. But in lieu of that, what do you find works the best and what doesn't work at all?
In person from a friend of that person.
Yeah.
So if I'm in person and I meet an influencer's friend that they really trust, and I've done my research and I know that they're boys or girls or whatever, they're like close, I will build a relationship with their friend.
Yeah.
And add as much value to them. It might be 6 months of adding value. And then if you can be in person, for them to introduce you, they're gonna say, you've gotta meet Lewis, you've gotta meet Ty, they're the best at this, I love them, they've added so much value. That glowing recommendation is gonna be so valuable.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like, of course, let's meet up.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Okay.
So if you can get that, done. But any other referral, I think sometimes it's hard if you're like trying to reach out to a big speaker or an author at a conference when everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Even if you're face to face and you say, whatever, I want to connect, 1,000 other people are saying that.
Yeah.
So it's harder that way. I think the introduction is the way to go.
Now, how many people, there's never a 100% closing rate for finding mentors. What do you think's realistic? You reach out to 5 and 1 at the end says yes, you reach out to 10, just so somebody watching has a realistic expectation of how many people, because I know for sure, if you just reach out to Bill Gates, sure, there's a 1 in a million chance, but you need 1 million people to reach out to Bill Gates to get one. So what do you think is a good number?
I think you want to have more than one mentor too.
Yeah.
I think you want to have more than one mentor, and the mentor doesn't have to look like a structured year-long thing. It can be, you talk to this person once every 6 months and you email them once every 2 months or whatever. It doesn't have to be like this weekly thing, the daily traditional mentor thing. So I have multiple mentors who don't even know they're mentoring me, but we just have conversations. Or I'll watch your YouTube show and you're mentoring me from what you're teaching.
Right, it's kind of virtual, picking
exactly.
up nuggets.
But I would say find people who are local. And I would say probably 20 to 30% of the time, if you reach out to someone who's doing big things in their industry, in your local market, you should get a response, I would say, that they would be willing to meet with you for 10 minutes.
So you're like 1 out of 5. So every one you want, reach out to 5.
Yeah.
If you do better, great. But that gives you a realistic, because sometimes people reach out to 1 and go, they didn't get back with me in time. I'm like, well, that's not the right odds.
And it depends. The bigger the influence they have, the less likely they're going to have time. So it's like, maybe it's 100% if you're just asking people who are average or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like the level of how much energy and passion you're going to bring and the level of the influencer. So.
Awesome. Okay, so to close out this talk, leave a comment answering 2 things. One, who is someone you would like to get the foot in the door with? Name 3 people. Let's do 3 here. People you could see yourself, like Lewis talks about, Chris, working for them, whether it be for $500 a month like you're doing or a completely free thing. Who are 3 people you're going to target to get foot in the door over the next year, whether it be as a mentor, internship, apprenticeship, whatever it might be?
And also, I'll have to add to that, also add what you're willing to do for that person, what you're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, let's make that number 2. What will you bring, what value do you bring to them instead of being egocentric? And it's funny you say this. When Mark Cuban was sitting in that chair yesterday, he said the exact, you guys think exactly alike. He said, I said, what's the secret to sales? Because he's big on sales. He sold a company for $2 billion. He said, you got to think, what do they want?
Yeah.
As opposed to what do you want? So the second question here is, what do they want that you can help them with. It could be sweat equity and just hard work. It could be maybe you have a skill in one little thing. Maybe you're younger than them, know a little bit more about Instagram, Snapchat. What's the thing? So answer those two. Now, we're going to head over, for those of you in the entrepreneur program and persuasion, we're headed there now, so make sure you tune in.